Hi there. In a world where nothing is certain, that means anything is possible, right? If you want to fulfill your dreams and desires, you are in the right place. You absolutely can have a life of happiness. Everyone deserves an abundance of love, laughter, success, health, and wealth. I'm Tara Chadzakis, and you're listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. The show that brings you meditation, mindset, and motivation. So start by giving yourself permission to be awesome. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi there, my lovely, and how are you today? Welcome to this week's episode of Happy, Inspired, Motivated. Today I have the lovely Lisa Johnson with me, and she is an amazing 7-figure business coach who specializes in helping entrepreneurs who want to scale their business and create primarily passive income, really, from membership and courses. Lisa's had a tough childhood spent in social housing, so she grew up and she raised herself up. So we're going to hear a little bit more about that through the interview. She went into a career in law. She's been in banking, the wedding industry, and now she's as I said, a high-end 7-figure business coach. She has spoken on the BBC's Women's Hour and is a Thrive Global contributor. She's also been featured in magazines and newspapers, for example, Psychologies, The Guardian, Red, and she's also been recently featured in Forbes magazine. Lisa is a huge believer that everyone can become a success no matter their background, and she's known for her anti-bullying campaigning online. She's also a mum. She has 2 8-year-old twin sons and her husband Sam, and they live in Hertfordshire. So, hi Lisa, and thank you for joining us here today on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so glad you came. I'm a big fan of yours.
Oh.
So, Lisa, you're a huge figure. You're a 7-figure business owner, and you're a business coach, and you've got a huge following. So, where did it all start for you? Why did you get yourself started in this industry?
Yeah, well, it was different to most people. You know, most people say they always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. I didn't. I didn't have that thing. I just sort of fell into it because I was working in corporate, and I was like in investment banking. I was doing really well. Okay. And then I had my twins. I've got 8-year-old twins now, and I had the twins, and realised very quickly that I needed to go back to work for money when they were 5 months old. So I was like, I was that mum that was like, yeah, this is going to be fine. They'll just be like an accessory. I'll go back to work at 5 months and nothing will change in my entire life.
That's what we all say.
We all think that, don't we? And then everything changed. And so I used to leave the house before they even woke up. And it's long hours in investment banking. And so sometimes I'd get home at like 9 or 10 o'clock, and obviously they'd be in bed. And I'd spend a whole week not really seeing them. Yeah. And realised very quickly I didn't want that. I didn't want to miss everything that they did. I was quite happy to kind of do the normal 9 to 5, but my job wasn't like that. So I decided the only thing I was going to be able to do, I was going through a divorce at the time, so I was going to become a single parent. So the only thing that I was going to be able to do really is get a job near my house instead of the big commute into London, really easy 9 to 5. And so that's what I did. And it was a PA job. And so my money went from being really quite good, 60 grand a year to 20-ish. And that was really hard. So I was in this 9 to 5. I was loving that I could see the boys before I left for work. Yeah. But I was really struggling monetary-wise. And also, honestly, I was bored. I was like playing on the computer all day. There wasn't that much to do. And so I decided I'm going to set up a business. And I set up a business as a wedding planner. Because
that's quite bizarre. You had no interest in the wedding business whatsoever.
No, I liked parties. I liked a
good we all.
I liked cake, and so I thought this is going to be great. And obviously, it looks so glamorous from the outside, but actually, it's absolutely knackering on the inside. You're standing up from Friday till Sunday. And it was pretty hard work. And also I wanted a life where I travelled all the time and spent lots of time with the twins at weekends. And I gave myself this job where all I did every single weekend for the whole of summer was stand on my feet and work and never see them again.
The complete opposite.
Yeah. And so, and also I wasn't making any money. After the first year, I had like 13 weddings. I was still in my 9 to 5. But we had to look, and I was making less than about £1.15 an hour. And I realised that was never going to really get me out of that life. It was like, yes, look how much money I've made. And it's because I didn't know anything about business. So I started to learn about business. I became one of those people that read all the books and do all the things and do coaching. And at this time, I was about 30,000 in debt. So it was hard to kind of pay out more money for coaching things. But I was like determined that I was going to turn this business around. And I did. About 5 months later, it all turned around for me. We got fully booked for a long period of time with really great clients. And then, you know, that carried on for a couple of years. I managed to leave my 9 to 5. I was doing all right. Still not, you know, still only earning less than I was earning in my investment banking job, but I was managing, and I was paying off the debt slowly. Yeah. And then realized, you know, this maybe isn't the passion. I don't have the passion for it. Yes, I can do it and I'm good at it, but is that enough? And then people started asking me how I'd made this business work. So I started telling people how I'd made it work, and all the stuff that I was learning. I was like, try this in your business. And I was doing it in a way that wasn't so jargony, because there's so much jargon out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And they started doing really well. And so then I realized, actually, this is my passion, teaching other people how to make their businesses actually make money rather than just survive. And so about 3.5 years ago, I started Lisa Johnson Coaching. It was a different name then. It was called Just Own This. And knew all the stuff about business then, all those foundations to really start properly, not play at it. And within 6 months, I made 100K in that business. We eventually sold the wedding planning. We didn't even sell the wedding planning business. We gave it away. And in the first year, I was making 220,000, and everything seemed on the surface to be brilliant. I was fully booked all the time. Couldn't take on any more work.
This is private one-to-one coaching, I guess.
Yeah, I was just doing one-to-one the whole time. You know, I realised I'd given up my 9 to 5 job to work from 6 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night on one-to-one. Which I didn't really want to do, but I didn't know any other way. I thought this was it. You know, people had told me that if I was fully booked, I was successful, and I was fully booked, and I felt quite successful. But I also thought, I'm burning out all the time. I'm tired all the time. I can't take any more work on, so I've hit an income ceiling. So what now? And that's when I started learning everything I could about passive income, because I heard about this term passive income. It sounded good, and obviously we know, you and I know, it's not passive.
No.
You still have to do some work, but it sounded like it was going to be easier, and it was eventually easier. And then my business went from, within a year, it went from, you know, early 6 figures to 7 figures with me working a third of what I was working before.
That's crazy.
And that's why I love passive income so much.
Yeah, because I mean, coaching, you know, you want to coach clients. That's the whole point you start it.
Yeah.
But to make money, you have to be fully booked, like you said, and then that's even more work, isn't it?
Yeah, and all you're doing then is working, and it feels also it's not fair on them. I felt like they were in a processing line, and I wasn't giving, you know, 100% of my energy all the time, because those people that I was coaching, you know, that were 5th in the day, 6th in the day, there's no way I was coming to them with the same energy. And I'm really about integrity, as you know. Integrity is a massive thing for me. And so it didn't feel like it was fair. And so I wanted to find new ways of helping people where it was better for them, but also better for me. And that's what passive income gave me.
Yeah. So what was your first introduction to passive income? Was it like a program, or was it group coaching, or?
Yeah, the first thing I ever did was I realized that the people that were asking me things one-to-one were generally asking me a lot of the same things. You know, how do I get started? Do I need a website? All the basic stuff. You know, how do I put a marketing plan together? What does money mindset mean? And so I created a program. And at first I created it so that it was all just packaged in one. It was 10 modules, put it on my website, people could just buy it. Yeah. And they just did. And I didn't have anything to do with it. I was like, this is great. This is truly passive. But then I realized that they weren't getting the results that they could get if I delivered it live and I answered their questions. So I made it semi-passive over 10 months. So I'd just rock up, because it was all already written, because I'd done it the first time. So each time I put this course out there, I'd rock up, deliver it, answer their questions. The next month, I'd rock up again for an hour, deliver it, answer their questions. They'd just take away the workbooks, and they started getting more and more results. Like each time I did it, I added things to it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had 20% of people finishing the course to 80% of people finishing the course. And so obviously the more people that finish the course, the more they're going to get results. And so for me, semi-passive income was the key. And then once I did that one, I was like, okay, you put a load of work up front, and you know, to grow your audience, market it, and then you can just keep doing it over and over again and making money each time. So, you know, I bought in like a membership, and then another course, and then a group program. And in the end, I was doing like 4 programs, and it was making me $1 million. And all I had to do was like 24 hours a month. And I realized this was the way. This was the way that was going to work.
Yeah, definitely. You've got, it's got to be a trade, hasn't it? More money for less hours. That's the whole point. I mean,
yeah, and they were getting more from me because I'd be there with all of them, but I'd be able to give so much more of my energy in like a 2-hour session with them and answering their questions. And you know, I knew, because I'd done the courses like maybe 6, 7, 8 times, I knew the kind of questions that were going to come up, and so I could put things in beforehand to help them. And you know, I've got this program, One to Many, and in One to Many, it's about how to make passive income. And I saw, as like the first time we were doing it, people were getting stuck, and they were all getting stuck in the same place. And it was, you know, the tech. It's always the tech, isn't it? I don't want to do the sales funnel. And so I gave them a sales funnel, and I saw this increase of people getting results from like a really low amount because they were getting stuck to nearly the entire, you know, the entire cohort of people who were booked on. And so I just kept thinking, well, each time, wherever I see that they're stuck, I'm going to give them something to make sure they can get to the end. And so they were getting better results than one-to-one because of that.
Yeah, and you, like you say, you know, if they're all getting the same issue, you might as well group coach, because what's the point in repeating it like 50 times? Because you're going to forget something. It's like verbatim,
and it's
isn't it?
cheaper for them as well. You know, it makes it more affordable for them, because if somebody comes to me and they want me one-to-one, I'm like 15 to 20,000. If they do a group coaching program with me, it's 2,000, and they're getting the same information, really. They're just not getting business. But you know, not everybody needs that. No,
and if they've still got access to you, like you say, it's not
completely passive. You get me, you know, I'm there.
Well, yeah, that's what people are buying into as well. They're not buying your course, no disrespect, it's not buying it because it's the best one, it's because you're delivering it as well. And that's what they're, you know, that's the whole point.
With everybody, you know, and that's why when people come to me and say, oh, but there's someone already doing what I want to do, I'm like, it really doesn't matter, because people like the way you explain things. People like the way you answer questions. People like the terminology you use, your personality. That's what they're buying into, not the knowledge.
Yeah,
the knowledge you can get for free. If we're honest about it, you can get most things for free on the internet. They will step by step, the accountability, the support.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy a book, couldn't you? Like you researched in the beginning for yourself, but if you'd have had you to deliver it, or somebody like you, you might have gone a lot quicker.
It would have been quicker. And eventually I did do that. And now, you know, I've invested over 200,000 in the last year on coaching and coaching programs and masterminds, because I've seen how much quicker it is for somebody to tell you all the mistakes they made. So that you have to make them is gold.
Oh, so you do a mastermind as well now, don't you? It started this month. It started this month.
I do a joint one with an amazing sales coach called Jade Gemma, and we're quite opposites, because she's all about just pick up the phone and sell. You know, there's no reason why you can't just make money now. And I'm all about the passive stuff, the longer term sustainable stuff. And so with both of us, it works really well, because people can grow these audiences, do bigger launches and make passive income. But while they're doing that, they can be making money very quickly by doing old fashioned, you know, selling how people used to sell. And so it works really well. So we did it the first time last year, and then we've just done another one. We've just filled the other one for this year, and we do one a year, which is really good fun. Yeah,
because if it's a mastermind, the more the connections are closer as well, aren't they? I mean, is that still ones like your other programs are?
It's very different. So I believe a true mastermind is where you don't learn from the host. You learn from each other. It's about the hive mind. It's about you really coming together to lift each other up, to have each other's back. to, solve each other's problems collectively. And the host is just a facilitator. Yeah. And yes, it's an important job to facilitate, and there are ways of doing that I've learned how to do that well, to make sure that everybody gets the best out of it. And yeah, you do get a one-to-one with us so that we can map out your strategy at the beginning, but really it's about the hive. And I think that there's a lot of masterminds, especially here in the UK, that call themselves masterminds. They're just group programs. They're just, you're just learning something each week, or a guest speaker is coming in each month. That's a group program. That's not a mastermind. And I've been in such amazing masterminds in the US that I wanted to bring, and so has Jade, and we wanted to bring that true mastermind feel to the UK, because we were looking for a mastermind here and we couldn't find one that had that true mastermind feel.
That's a shame though, isn't it? I mean, I must admit, if I've ever seen masterminds advertised online, they're always in the US. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think they're just a little bit ahead of us in realizing how amazing a mastermind can be. Like, we saw people in our mastermind, people think, well, how can you make more money just because you've got a group of people around you? We saw people go from 4 to multi-6 figures. 4 figures to multi-6 just in the 6 months they were working with us, because the confidence that comes from having all people helping you and lifting you up, and you feel supported, can do an amazing thing. And also, everybody in a mastermind has had different experiences. So if you've got one person with a problem, you can guarantee that somebody else in there, and it's usually intimate, we don't ever go over 15 people, but someone else in there is going to have had that problem.
Yeah, and you aspire to be a different level altogether, don't you? You pull each other up rather than push each other down. That's completely different.
And people say the whole time that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, I'm not sure if that exact figure is true, otherwise I'm the sum of 2 8-year-olds. But I do believe that if you see other people doing things you want to do, and you see that it's possible, you are much more likely to be there. And it's why I'm in masterminds now of people that have, multi-7 and 8-figure businesses. Because if I'm around that, if I see that, I'm much more likely to go, okay, well, if it's possible for them, it's possible for me. And I hope that people see me and go, well, if it's possible for her, then I could definitely do it, because she seems pretty normal. Like, if she can do it, I can do it.
It's true, yeah. I mean, when I first sort of got to know you a little bit, it was just like, well, she's normal. She's just like a normal person. She has a glass of wine, she goes out and she does whatever she wants, and she's down to earth. You're not unobtainable, if you know what I mean.
No, and I don't think people really change when they make money. Like, I've gone from being as poor as you can imagine to where I am now, and I haven't, like, my personality hasn't changed. I'm still the same person. I still, buy clothes in Primark sometimes, and because they're good and they're good value, and I still go to the same bars I used to. You'll often find me in a Wetherspoons, having my dinner. Those kind of things don't change. The opportunity changes. So I can be more free to spend time with my kids. We can go to amazing places in the world that they wouldn't necessarily see. All money gives you is opportunity. It doesn't change who you are.
No, you've got a chance to experience more, haven't you? And you've also got more chance to give more back to the community, because you're spending your money in the high street and things like that. Whereas, instead of hoarding it because you can't afford it.
Yeah, and also you've seen, like, growing up where I grew up, you can see where money needs to go. And so, I never had the opportunity to be able to give to things like bullying charities before, and, food banks and that kind of thing. Now I do. And that's a brilliant thing that comes with making money, is that you suddenly are able to do things that you weren't able to do before, which is, I've loved. That's been one of the best things, like, especially this year when I've seen so many people hurting and suffering because of what's been going on with coronavirus, because of Black Lives Matter, and I was able to actually help in a tangible way rather than just by using influence.
Yeah, I know you had quite a bit of backlash about the Black Lives Matter, didn't you? That was.
I think that everybody who realised that they were part of the problem and wanted to change that in their communities got a bit of backlash. Had several people leave my membership because I was talking about it too much, and I don't care. quite frankly.
No, well, I mean, to be honest, it's your membership, isn't it? I mean,
I'll talk about
what we like.
Yeah,
exactly.
But also, it's important. It's important that we don't let it just go away now, because it's not being shouted about as much as it was 2 months ago. It doesn't mean that we should stop doing the things that we said we would do.
No, exactly. And I know, like you said, mentioned about bullying, because you give quite a lot to those, don't you? Because you were bullied when you were younger. So
absolutely, yeah, it's really important to me that we try and make change from the bottom up, which means we educate on bullying, and we educate on how there's still workplace bullying, there's still online bullying for entrepreneurs. I didn't just get bullied when I was a child. I got bullied like 2 years ago online, and so I don't know many people that don't, and we need to make a change. And if we just say, oh well, these things happen to some kids, that's not going to cut it. We need to make a change at the bottom, and that means helping the bullies too.
Yeah, because there's people aren't born bullies. There's a reason why.
Exactly. We know that hurt people hurt.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah,
getting people to see things in a different way, and also getting people to realise themselves that if they've been bullied when they're younger, it probably is still affecting them when they're in their 30s, in their 40s. It doesn't just go away. It will always have an impact on you, and how you deal with that is really important, because it can make or break you.
Yeah, I mean, how everybody has some beliefs or something that stops them from doing things because of what happened when they were younger. Things just stick in your mind, don't they? And you just reinforce them over time. And
yeah, absolutely. And you can follow the same patterns like almost over and over again, unless you deal with the root of it, and unless you realize that you have a choice. You have a choice whether you let something that happened to you cause issues for you, or whether you actually use it as fuel. And I'm doing a TEDx talk in October about how I believe that adversity actually fuels our success. We can use it to make us go further than we would have done. And that's definitely what's happened to me. Like if I think I'm scared in a situation, or oh God, I don't want to do this, I don't know whether I can do this, I remember that people told me that I couldn't ever do anything and never get anywhere. That will fuel me to continue. That will actually, I sometimes look at those bullies when I was 15, 16 years old and realise that they've been a huge help in making me a millionaire.
Yeah, pushing you forward, like you say, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for giving a big thank you.
There's no better 2 fingers up than that, really, is there?
Not really. No. Oh God. I know it sounds daft, but have you ever seen them since?
Yeah, so I look very different now to how I looked as a young girl. And so I've been back a couple of times to the town in which I lived, and I've seen these people. I've been chatted up by them, like in nightclubs when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, and they have no idea who I am. And, I've not treated them very nicely when they've done that, and they don't really know why. But yeah, there was one actually, one of my friends ended up, who didn't know that we had any kind of history, but one of the lads that really bullied me badly at school, she ended up actually going out with him, and she's now with him long term. And I only realised when we all met up at a party, and I said to him, you made my life hell. And he said he knew, and that he was sorry, and he didn't see it like that. He just saw it as, there's always somebody in the class going to get bullied by everybody else, and I was just that person. And he didn't realize at all how much it would affect me for life. I think people don't, they just see it as a bit fun. And so that was an interesting conversation to really and he's apologized, and he's seen now what it can do. But I wonder how many others out there who have bullied people don't realize the effect that it has.
No, like I said, they just think it's a bit of fun, don't they, because they're having a laugh. But
But when there's 30 of them having a laugh at one person day in, day out for 5 years, that's going to have an effect.
Yeah, of course it is. It's not just one or two people, is it, you can avoid. If it's
and they think of themselves as, well, I just did this bit, but they don't see it as a whole. What was everyone else doing at the same time? So it's I can look back now, and it doesn't hurt like it used to hurt, because I've had RTP and all sorts of things to help me with the trauma of it. But now it interests me, looking back, to see how these people what they thought was happening, and you know, seeing things from different people's points of view.
Nice. Well, you're making a huge change in many people's lives. So actually grateful for the bullies to a kind of degree, because you wouldn't be the person that you are. If you had anything different, you wouldn't have ended up as you are today. So it was happening to you for a good reason, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely makes sense. And I do think that. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and you can turn things into a positive. Mm-hmm. if you want to, and that's what life's about, really. What can we learn from the things that have happened to us? How can we turn that into something that works for us rather than against us?
Because you may not have wanted to get out of where you were, otherwise you might have been quite happy to stay there.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of things. If I look back, I can see a lot of sliding doors, if you like, where this could have happened or this could have happened, but things pushed me in certain directions.
Well, I'm so glad that it did. I'm so glad that you stepped up and you pushed through your fears and you got to exactly where you are today, and that's just amazing. And you're just going to keep going from strength to strength. So. Oh,
thank you. I hope so.
Yeah, I know you are. I can tell. You're just a lovely person, and people enjoy working with you. And you know, you give genuinely, and people can see that. So that's what's important.
Yeah, I think it's important to be, I hate the word authentic these days, but truly you.
Yeah.
Be you.
Yeah.
Don't try and be something you're not, and that will always work in your favor. Like transparency, honesty, and integrity will always work in your favor.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So if my audience wants to get in touch with you, Lisa, how can they find you? Find out more about
you? The best place to hang out with me is in my Facebook group. It's got over 7,000 people in there now, the Fabulous 5%. We called it that because only 5% of businesses in the first year make it, and we're going to be that Fabulous 5%.
Cool. So that's Facebook, the Fabulous 5%, or just Fabulous?
Yeah, the Fabulous 5%. The other thing is, if you're thinking you might want passive income and you're not sure, I have a quiz that can tell you if you're ready for passive income. It's thecashcalculator.com. And if you put that into Google, it'll come up with a quiz. It's completely free. Just go through the quiz and it will give you a personalised report on what you need to be concentrating on.
So what was that again? The Cash Calculator?
Cashcalculator.com.
Right. Okay, Lisa, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know you're really busy.
No worries. It's been fun chatting with you.
It's been lovely. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been lovely having you on. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. I'll be back next week bringing more meditation, mindset, and motivation for your happy and successful life. To find out more about our community, go to tarachatzakis.com/happy, inspired, motivate.